You ever notice how life has this funny way of testing you when you least expect it? You are doing all the right things, like saving for retirement, paying your bills, trying to stay disciplined, and then suddenly, bam, the water heater busts or your car transmission goes out. And the money you thought was locked up safely for your future suddenly feel like the only lifeline you have. But then when most people start asking me, Mia, what's happened if I take money out of my IRA or 401k? Is there any way to do it without getting slammed with a 10% penalty? And you know what? For years, the answer was pretty discouraging. Unless you were buying your first home or paying huge medical bills or disabled, the IRS didn't care why you needed money. If you were under 59.5, you paid a penalty, no question asked. But now, thanks to the Secure 2.0 that's still in full swing for 2025, the rules have changed in your favor. The IRS finally realized that real life doesn't wait until you are 60. Emergency happened, and you shouldn't be punished for trying to keep your head above the water. Let me tell you about a few of my clients because their story really shows how these new rules can make a difference. Take Maria, for example. She's a single mom. She drives a 10-year SUV and works 2 part-time jobs. One morning, her car just died on the freeway, completely transmission failure. The repair shop quoted her $3,200 and she only had $600 in savings. Before 2024, if she touched her IRA, she would owe tax plus a 10% penalty. But under the new emergency personal expense distribution rule, she was able to take out $1,000 penalty free. She is self-certified that this was a legitimate emergency and she plans to pay it back next year when her funds come with the refund. No, the extra penalty, no red tape, it keeps her working and earning, which was the real win. Then there's Jasmine. She's one of the brave people I have met. After leaving a long-term abusive relationship, she needed to move quickly and start over with her 2 kids. She didn't have family to lean on, but she had a 401k. Under the new domestic abuse distribution rule, she could take up to $10,000 or 50% of her balance without the 10% penalty. She used it for rent, childcare, and a new start. Later, when she got back on her feet, she began repaying it. The law gave her 3 years to put it back and reclaim the tax that she paid. The flexibility makes it all the difference. And then there's Carol and Anna, a couple in Florida who lost part of their roof in a hurricane. In the past, we have to wait for Congress to pass a special disaster bill before they could pull from retirement without penalty. But now the relief is built in. Under the permanent disaster relief rule, they withdrew $20,000 penalty free, spread the income over 3 years, and repay most of it within 2. It's helped them rebuild faster and they stay on track for retirement. Stories like these remind me that tax rules aren't just numbers on paper. They affect real people trying to get through real life crises, and that's what these new exceptions are, giving you more breathing room when life punches you in the gut. Now, I have always told clients, just because you can withdraw from your retirement account doesn't mean you should. Think of these new rules as a safety net, not a strategy. Here's how to make them work for you without derailing your future. First, always build your emergency fund first. That's your first line of defense. The retirement account should only be backup when you are run out of other options. Second, if you do take money out, plan the timing. The withdrawal is still taxable. So if you know your income will be lower this year, that's the time to do it. Every dollar counts when it comes to managing your tax bracket. Third, remember you can repay the withdrawal within 3 years. So don't wait until year 3 to repay. You want to do it as early as you can. You want to think of it like borrowing from yourself without interest. The sooner you put it back, the faster your investments are compounding again. And when you do file your taxes, make sure you or your tax preparer files the right form. So Form 5329 for the penalty exception, and Form 8915F for disaster-related withdrawals. It's easy to forget though, and missing them can trigger IRS notices later. If you are self-employed, there's even more to be thinking about. For example, from one of my clients, Devin, who runs a small landscaping business. Cash flow swing from season to season, and he sometimes have to dip into saving just to keep the business running. Instead of pulling from his 401k every time he's tight, we built him a plan. He maintained a 6-month business reserve, contributing regularly into a SEP IRA, and only use the emergency withdrawal rule when absolutely necessary. By coordinating it with his quarterly estimated taxes, we keep his income balanced, and he's never get hit with an unexpected tax bill. Here's another layer of planning that most people miss: the Roth strategy. If you have a Roth IRA, you can always pull your contribution, just the contribution, tax and penalty free. So in a real emergency, that's often a better sort of fund than tapping a traditional IRA. It doesn't trigger new taxable income, and it keeps your long-term plan intact. I also remind clients that state rules can differ. Some states like California and New Jersey don't automatically follow the federal permanent penalty-free exceptions. So if you live in a non-conforming state, double check before you withdraw. The federal part may be fine, but your state might still charge a 2.5 penalty or treat it differently. So here's a tip that we tie all of this together. Whenever we do a distribution, we immediately set up an automatically contribution increase one thing stabilized. Even $25 a month extra help replace what you took out. Over time, it closes the gap and keeps you moving forward. Now for my clients who are rebuilding, we also look ahead to 2027 when the new saver match kicks in, and that replacing the savers credit. And instead of the tax credit, the government will actually deposit up to $1,000 directly into your retirement account as a match. So the sooner you rebuild your account, the sooner you can qualify for that free money. One last story before we wrap up. Sam and Leah, small business owner in Texas, a tornado hit their town in 2024 and wiped out Sam's workshop. Using the new disaster rule, they withdrew $18,000 penalty free, spread it over the 3 years, and repay $10,000 in year 2. That's one decision helped them rebuild their shop, reopen within months, and stay financially afloat. And because they tracked their repayment carefully, they were able to amend the tax return later and get some of that tax money back. It's the kind of careful planning that turned crisis into a comeback. So when people ask me, Mia, should I ever touch my retirement saving early? My only answer is this: only if you have to. But if you do, when the rules and know your rule and make it work for you. The goal isn't just to get through the storm. It is to make sure your long-term financial plan survives it. And that's the real beauty of these updates. You are not being punished for life happening, and you are being given a structured, responsible way to handle it and recover faster. Because at the end of the day, that's what smart tax planning is about. Not avoiding every bump in the road, but learning how to navigate without losing sight of your destination.